Starting up in just a few minutes. Countdown on.
The grandest of adventures can always lead to a side quest.
Take a little trip, take a little trip, take a little trip to see. Take a little trip, take a little trip, take a little trip with me. Hey, hey, hey. You get the bag and fumble it, I get the bag and flip it and tumble it. Straight off the lot, 300 cash, and the car came with a blunt in it. Lil' mama a fat, and she got ass, and she gon' fuck up a bag. Pull up to the spot, living too fast, dropping it up in the stash. In Italy, not too far, hoes they kill me. Draw the top when it's cold, but you feel the heat. Be real with me, keep it 100, just be real with me. Eat it up like it's a feast. You get the bag and fumble it, I get the bag and flip it and tumble it. Straight off the lot, 300 cash, and the car came with a blunt in it. Lil' mama a fat, and she got ass, and she gon' fuck up a bag. Pull up to the spot, living too fast, dropping it up in the stash. In Italy, not too far, hoes they kill me. Draw the top when it's cold, but you feel the heat. Be real with me, keep it 100, just be real with me. Eat it up like it's a feast.
What up, what up? Oh yeah, whoop. Wrong buttons. God, I love Grizz. What up, fam? How y'all doing? What's good? Back to another day. Welcome all the people in the chat. Another day. Another day, another dollar, another prayer for the old Bitcoin here. We're going to be trading Bitcoin live. We're going to be trading stocks, indices. We're going to be looking at charts, taking requests, chatting about markets, whatever it is. Happy Monday. Lock in, baby. Lock it in. It's time to lock back in. You had the weekend to chill. Hopefully you had a good weekend. It's finally cool here. It's not 1,000,000 degrees up in my stream room for once. Thank God. Appreciate you all tuning in. Turn this down here. Appreciate y'all tuning in. What I need from you right now, I need you to tap that screen. I need you to hit the like button. I need you to say hello. No matter what platform you're on, it doesn't matter. You can be on any of them. Wherever you are, say hello. Let me know you're here. Send some likes, subscribe, follow. Whoa. What's happening there? What's happening over here on the tubes? I think we're all right. Praying we're all right. Yeah, lock it in. Bitcoin finally, maybe not the word. Bitcoin giving us anxiety again. This is big. This is meaningful. We had the first big move in a while last week. Bitcoin crashed down, breaking February's low, and then leaving us hanging for the rest of the day. Basically, 60K broke. We tested like 59. What did we test? 59.2. Not even like a whole percent lower. Got everybody scared. Fear and greed, actually, in the crypto market is back to historic lows. Bitcoin, fear and greed. Let me pull this up. Is back to extreme vaginas. No, that's terrible. Back to extreme words I'm not going to say, actually. 8. We're in single digit territory again, baby. This is not the lowest Bitcoin has ever seen. We've had spookier moments, but 8 is a contender for one. I want to say it's probably in the top 10, top 5, top 10 lowest or most spooky, scariest sentiment readings in history. We rarely ever see single digits, I'm telling you. This is off the back of extreme fear, honestly, for the longest stretch of time I think Bitcoin has ever seen. Okay, let me rephrase, because that's almost true. The longest stretch of fear that we've ever seen. We had the longest stretch of extreme fear last year. No, at the beginning of this year. Man, I'm losing track of time at this point. You can see back in February, we hit a rating of 5, which is the lowest, I believe, tied for the lowest. We hit it twice in February. That is reminiscent of numbers from much spookier times in crypto. You can see all the way back here. I don't even know if I can click on it. 2019 in October. That was a spooky moment. And in my memory, actually probably the second scariest. Probably March of 2020 was even scarier. But you can see this just doesn't happen. We really do not get readings like this. And when you look at kind of the clustering on this fear and greed chart, this is at alternative.me/crypto/fear and greed index. By the way, if you want to check it out, it's free. The clustering down here, similar to the bear market bottom in 22. It's interesting. I don't think that we really even need this little visual. I think sentiment is lower than it's ever been. I don't want to say necessarily fear, although maybe it is fear. Maybe I'm just like not used to it. What's up, TicTac420? Back to the 4-year average. You know, that's what I'm going to get to here. We are back to the 4-year average. I'm impressed you said that. Most people aren't really aware of what the 200-week means. You're right. I'll get to that in a minute. But we don't really need this. Maybe I'm inoculated. Maybe you guys are a little inoculated too, because we've rid this ride. We've gone up and down. We've hit the waves. We've been up. We've been down. And it's just kind of like normal now for us, you know? I don't feel fear, though I do feel sentiment. Like I said, probably the lowest I've ever felt it in the space. And it's just a different kind of low sentiment. It's kind of just like a submission. It's not like an intense and volatile fear. It's like I give up. Like I just give up. Like I just like don't, like I almost like just don't care anymore. It's kind of the sentiment we're feeling, and it's brutal. I'm right there with you. You bought onto at 98 cents, sold at 43. You are a hero, Dave. Get it, brother. Didn't fill your buy order at 58 yet. Yeah, you'd probably get another chance. So let's take a look at this. We did trade below the 200-week moving average, which, as TikTok over there on TikTok pointed out, and I've pointed this out before, not a lot of people realize this. The 200-week is not a magical, special thing. It's really just another moving average. It happens to be one that people pay attention to more than others. I typically use 20, 50, 100, 200 when I'm looking at moving averages. But specifically on the week, the 200-week is 4 years, almost. It would technically be what? 208 moving average would be 4 years. And if we if we were to put on the 208 moving average, you would find it's probably right about here anyway. There's not going to be a huge difference. Let's just do it for the sake of doing it. That would be exactly 4 years. Yeah, just a little bit lower. When we look at this, the importance, at least here in Bitcoin, is we talk about a 4-year cycle. We talk about a predictable all-time high, a predictable bear market low, being in a pattern across time, right? And that is across 4 years. And so this moving average represents the average price of the exact 4-year cycle, the exact 4 years previous. So that does give it a little extra weight. On top of it, we can say that the 200 and the 50 is what defines a death cross and a golden cross. So there's like a little kind of self-fulfilling weight of, we look at it so it has importance. But that's really what it is. It's the average of 4 years. And unless, I can't trust anything I see on the internet anymore, so maybe this wasn't real. But I do believe I saw a quote from Warren Buffett. God, as I'm saying it out loud, I feel like I'm already know I'm getting trolled. That said that basically buying at the 200-week moving average on strong assets will outperforms like any indice, outperforms any safe investment over time. And historically, that's been true on Bitcoin. Historically, it has been. There's been long periods of time in between, and I can see why this would be hard to do, because not many people have this kind of patience. The last time we were at the 200-week moving average was October of 23. That was 1,000 days ago. So basically, if you had followed this, you could have been buying all throughout the last bear market, and then you would just be sitting doing nothing for 1,000 days. That's just not really how we work. We are dopamine-driven, kind of simple creatures at the end of the day. And I can see how that would be difficult. This is a weird spot to be in. The good news is we did break low, so after a lower high, we're probably looking for another leg lower. That makes sense. But the good news is the weekly closed back above the 200-week moving average. So support did hold there. Actually, I say this, and maybe it's not that great of news, because if we're looking for further down, this probably just delays it, right? We close back above. It's probably just a delay. It's probably just more of a sit and wait situation. We have closed below our grand trend line. I did enjoy saying that for a few days. Once we broke it, we were talking about likely to see resistance there on our back test of like 66? 65, 66. We have reversed actually pretty nicely. Buyers came in at the 200 week. And the week closed above. That's going to be all of the good news that we have right now. Opinion on LEU. What's that, Zoro? The Munger method. Is that what Google's saying? Oh, Charlie Munger. All right. Attributed to someone else. It's not a bad call. Buying at a 200 week on. I mean, obviously, this doesn't apply to assets that are bad, right? If you're going to buy, I don't know, like Enron when it crashes 200 week. I mean, maybe this. You're still probably better off. You've been better off buying at that 200 week than anywhere above it, right? It gives you a target to look for. It gives you something to set a goalpost by. So in that sense, it can be good. That can be solid. If I had never bought Bitcoin before, I'd probably start my DCA. This is a great price. Great price to start a DCA. 100% back to the all-time high, a 50% discount from just October of last year. Bitcoin did this in 22 and pumped just to find the bear market low in October. That it did. And the spookiest part about all of that is Bitcoin did this not only in the last bear market. No, it didn't. It didn't. It fell below the 200 and then pumped. But when it did break the 200 week, it was back in June. It was June of 22. Talk about that 4-year cycle. Exactly 4 years ago, we broke below this exact moving average. It's kind of spooky. The low from that move did give us a juicy pump. You are correct about that. About 44% from the low to the failed high. And from that high, we fell to the bear market bottom 38%. 38% move up, 38% move down, and then it was over. I think most people are expecting something similar here. We're expecting to trade below the 200 week again, to put in probably a lower low sometime in October, mark the bottom. Some sideways trading into the start of the new year. and January back getting them prices, getting them green candles. Last cycle in 22, I just opened longs into the new year and rode them very healthily throughout that whole rally. So far, looking like a play that can be made again. For true. While we did settle up above the 200 week, it really just like, honestly, is stressful. It's like, well, we get a bounce here, we get a retracement, but I feel like just the probability of it bringing us anywhere is just so low. What do you guys think? RSI is so nuked on different time frames. Like, I think I saw people pointing out the monthly RSI on Bitcoin. I would be really, really hesitant to ever use a current monthly RSI reading. So we have 22 days left. The RSI, where the RSI is at right now, in a bubble without context, is just like not really important, because in 22 days you can trade way, way, way lower or way higher. And so this RSI will move around, right? I thought I saw someone say the RSI was like at like all-time lows on the month. That is not the case. December of 22 hit a lower low here, for sure. But it is historically very low. Very, very low. We hit oversold on the week in February of this year. Similar to July, June of 22. We never became oversold again on the week before rallying back into a bull market. But that did not prevent us from trading lower. We still traded lower even after we bottomed out on RSI. So RSI is a mixed bag. Absolutely a mixed bag there. On the day, it is hella low on the day. The only time, wow, my computer's like dying doing this. The only time that RSI seems to have been lower on the day was the November crash in 2018. So that was what, the 6K to 3K dump. Did you see that? My computer was lagging so bad with these indicators open. That's weird. Yeah, right here. Bitcoin fell after trading sideways for almost an entire year at 6K. Fell another 50% and it was over. That's the only other point where RSI was lower, and it wasn't even that much lower. If Bitcoin falls from this low, if it loses the 200 week, trades another leg down, it will absolutely hit a lower RSI. Absolutely. No question. Your chart signaled Bitcoin bottom. What's going on? Well, we are at an interesting point in the cycle, right? We held the 200 week. That does differentiate us from the last cycle. I don't think it's enough to be like, well, this is totally different, I don't think that's enough. But the last cycle, we did not hold the 200 week. Roughly, like exactly 4 years ago, when we broke through the 200 week moving average, we did not close back above. We closed below. We spent the rest of June, almost all of July under the 200 week. We closed a few weak candles above it before dumping down lower. We did not at all, actually. This is something that's different. I'm hesitant to be like, this changes everything. Maybe I would clickbait you with that, but like, in this circumstance, we hit the 200 week and we bounced a little bit. There was virtually no bounce. Let's actually go down to the day and look at it. There's virtually no bounce in the last cycle at the 200 week, right? It's like, why are you not generating? What's that? There we go. That took a while. What's happening? Is it TradingView or is it my connection? My connection seems fine. We'll see. Zoro followed over on TikTok. Thank you, brother. I'll take a look at LEU. I asked what it is. I don't know if you heard me. You can see very different here. 4 years ago when we did this same move, we hit that 200 week and just kept going, right? Which is actually interesting. So a lot of newer investors here, and when I say newer, I want to say people who weren't around for like 2018, into 2020. The 200 week moving average became a thing pretty much after March of 2020. During the bear market low in 17 into 18 cycle, like people weren't really looking at the 200 week in that way for support. when we retested it in March during like the everything crash and rallied from it, everyone on the way up, I remember people saying this, on the way up, people are like, well, I'm going to sell Bitcoin and then I'm going to rebuy it at the 200-week moving average. They're like, because it always bounces at the 200-week moving average. That's what they said. Lots of people. This isn't like one person. This is like kind of a group thing. People were ready to buy at the 200-week because they saw how strong it was during the cycle. And so as it came in 22, there were a lot of people lined up to buy there. Now, I don't think in this cycle there was that same confidence. I think people saw the 200-week and were largely expecting it to be hit in February. It didn't happen. And then on this test here, I really don't think people were like, oh yeah, that's going to be that's it. That's where I'm going to line up. Like, I think people saw the last bear market and thought we're going to trade lower. We're, like the 200-week will be like a good checkpoint to be like, okay, we're getting closer to the bottom. So less people kind of lined up there, yet the bounce is better. We actually like moved back above the 200-week here where we just did not last time, even though that was where people were ready to buy. We traded below, closed below. You have this little candle, I guess, that's slightly closed above it. Like I wouldn't consider that the same. There wasn't like a reversal of any kind here. It was like you lost support and you came back to test it as resistance, and that resistance held. Whereas this time we've seen something like this. Now, it's not a huge bump, it's not a huge rally, not a huge reversal, but it's something. It is something. And less people, I want to say, were ready to kind of like go all in there. It's interesting. Could imply a slow chop bleed over the next 4 months, of course. I mean, I think that's what we need to be prepared for, is we're probably not done here, right? I would love for us to be done here. I would love for the bottom to be in. I'd love to just move on up. Like, I would be the biggest cheerleader. Here's like my line, and I'll tell you where I will change this thought. Like, for now, I'm looking for lower. I'll change my mind at the 200-day. The 200-day is now only at 78.4K. That's going to keep cruising on down here. I'd say by July, it'll be at the low 70s. If we can reverse, move back above the 200, maybe this time is really different. I want to say I'd feel better up here above 80. Put in, break a high, get a higher high, right? Get back above that 200. I'll change my mind. But until then, I just like don't know why we would expect anything, right? Anything other than, well, we're probably looking at a Q4 low again. Probably looking like October, November. Probably looking for a lower low into the 50s, 40s, whatever. And then choppy. I think choppy and bleedy is the most likely outcome. Bitcoin has virtually always, bear market or bull market, has virtually always traded sideways and just chopped during the summer. I don't even think I can name a time where it like did anything other than chop in the summer. Like from May until August. Like, look at this. Chop. This was in 21 after the all-time high. May, dump, and then June, July, August, like chop sideways. What do we got here? Oh, this was brutal. May, June, July, like all sideways. Even here, pre having all-time high, chop side, like literally every summer has been chop sideways for Bitcoin. I'm saying a prayer that breaks, because remember, we can get comfortable in these 4-year cycles and in these like comfortable little nooks of price action, and we have control over it. We know what's gonna happen. We get comfortable in it, but all of that will eventually break. It's just self-fulfilling, right? If everyone is looking at something, it can't play out that way, because markets just you can't have everyone winning in markets. Like there has to be losers by definition, right? And markets tend to be very selective. They tend to have much less winners, much more losers disproportionately. Eventually, what I'm saying is every cycle, every pattern breaks. Now, when do we decide and when do we like diverge from, that cycle, that predictability? Probably when we see something that breaks the mold. I would say that's above the 200-day, above 80K. Honestly, though, even that might be just a little too optimistic. We might need to see more to really do something different to really pull us out of this. But just keep it in your back. Keep it in the back of your mind. It will eventually happen. Eventually, we won't see such predictability. We won't see, you know, oh, the same thing always happens. And for those of you who haven't been in the space long, just look back if you can. I don't know how I'd even do this, but look back or talk to people. There have been many things in crypto or in Bitcoin and price action that people say always happens. And one by one, all of those things have stopped happening. Like Bitcoin never, it always stays above its previous all-time high. Well, last cycle we saw it fall back below its all-time high. This cycle we've seen it fall back below its all-time high. There's many examples, but there's been more than just this. Like there's been this long line of this always happens, and it did for a while, and then obviously it stopped. So just apply that to everything. What's up, my friends? That's a good reminder. Gurpreet Singh. What's up, my friend? Thank you for subscribing. It's a good reminder if you're out there and you have not subscribed, please subscribe now, no matter what platform you're watching on. Join it in, say hello, tap the screen, hit the like button, share, comment. I don't know. Tell me what you're looking at today. We're just warming up here. Help me. Help me. Help me with the engagement. The more you engage, the more the algorithm favors us. Oh, good. More Grizz is playing. That's cool. I'll take it. No chatters over there yet. No chatters over there yet. Okay. Cool. Looks like you're out here. I only know pain. True. What's up? What's up, Metaspace? Bones Jones. Am I good today? I'm good. My little removal here. I get the stitches out Thursday. It's actually looking much better. I had to stop putting a band-aid on it though, because like I have this real janky looking wrap here. Yep. I had to stop using a band-aid because the band-aids were starting to just like rip my skin up. I have like what looks like blisters in a perfect square around where it is. So I had to do this. What's up, 𝐂𝐡𝐚𝐫𝐭 Academy? Welcome. Thank you. It's good to see subscribers. I feel like we've been streaming for like months and barely any subscribers while we're live. Midpoint or endpoint? Well, I mean, what is it? June, July, August, September, October. We're looking at October, maybe you say November, December. It's like, yeah, we're about halfway through the year. What is the best crypto asset and why is it hyperliquid? You tell me, brother, because I don't know. I don't believe that. I don't see that. How you doing, Crimson? What's up, brother? Pickle, what is good, my friend? Soul Jeffe with the emojis. What's over up on TikTok? What are you guys doing? No one's talking. Thank you for your dedication, Bearded Wanderer. Bro, I'm not going anywhere. This is all I do. This is all I know. What would I even do? Where would I even be if I wasn't streaming, you know? Ethereum was the last to give me an alert, man. We should pop over there. Ooh. Ethereum, all right. Ethereum was looking really bad on Friday. But I don't hate, at least for the short term, what I'm seeing here. I don't know why there's not a long position here. There's a long position somewhere on Ethereum. FBTC. Yeah, where are we even going to target though? Like back here, 0293. Yeah. It's out of the way. FBTC finally hitting 0.025 exactly as we said it would. Exactly as we said would happen, obviously. What I like though is we're seeing a bounce on F's value against Bitcoin, but that coincides with Ethereum. All right. You're giving me a little bit of hope here. That coincides with its USD pair. 1500, we found support here. Long wick closing last week. Not only did we find support and bounce, closed much higher up at almost 1700. You can see that weekly close gets you back into the trend line. The trend line that I was worried about. I was like, if you close down here, what are you doing, right? You're looking to retest like bear market lows. If you close down here, that end of week rally really put this chart into a little bit better shape. Similar to Bitcoin's 200-week close, we saw buyers come in, holding it on by a prayer. Holy. Combined with the ETH BTC pair, that's... I've seen worse. That makes me feel a little better. Ethereum did hit its all-time low in RSI last week. Look at this. 2020, 2019, none of the major crashes have ever seen Ethereum's RSI move lower than literally, what, Friday, Saturday, yeah. That's crazy. This bonkers. I won't say Ethereum doesn't look amazingly good right now or anything. Like, right. It's not, it doesn't look beast mode strong, but it went from, I think that this is going to go break its previous bear market lows to like, maybe it's not. Maybe it's going to hold 1500 here. I'm surprised. I didn't see this coming. Lower than the COVID crash. It's absolutely diabolical. It's like actually absolutely crazy. That's crazy work. Not on the week, but on the day. So it's like the 14-day running average of RSI was lower than anything. Lower than this whole period. It's almost doesn't make sense, right? This has been brutal. Still has a long way to go to look good. 2,500 is the 200-week moving average. I will give Ethereum this though. In April of 25, when it crashed from 4,000 down to a little bit lower, 1,400, it looked pretty bad. It looked very bad. And it did, over the course of just 3 weeks, pop right back to that 200-week moving average. Now, that was in the heart of the bull, bull run, which is maybe not the scenario we're in right now. But it gives you an idea, man. Like, things can look very bad, and it can just change in less than a month, in just 3 weeks. Ethereum traded from 1,500 to 2,600, almost 70% gain. Popped right above that 200 and then went on. Like, that could happen again. It's possible. I would probably take profit at 2,500 though if we saw it pop back up. 4th of July, baby. 4th of July bull market rally. I wish. I hope so. We deserve it. We need it. We've earned it, you know? We deserve gains. We haven't gotten gains in so long. Solana still looks pretty trash though. Let's see. Back to February's low. Testing it as resistance. Okay. Solana can push back up. It's got a good shot at 80 pretty quick. Ooh. Against Bitcoin, though. Struggling. It is at support, technically. I wouldn't say it's at support in USD. Actually, I don't hate Ethereum. I don't hate it. It's not bad. Tom Lee might get some of his money back. Quantum Cold, you deserve it, bro. You do. You deserve it. Oh, DCA and Prey. I remember. I remember when we were all promised crypto president pump. I remember. Certainly his own bags pumped. Maybe that's what we meant the whole time. Crypto president would pump his own bags. That for sure happened. Tether dominance pulled back. Still very threatening. Still not comfortable in any way with the way Tether dominance looks. Looks super bullish. What's up, Lifestyle Diary? Welcome. We have some more subscribers. Interesting. Where y'all coming from? Because we have been streaming for months here and had like 0 new subscribers. Are people tuning back in? What's happening? What's happening? Are you real? Maybe they're not real. Maybe they're AI. That's okay. Even if you're AI, you're welcome here. Let's get those likes up. That's right, One House Productions. Keep tapping that screen, subscribing, hit the like button. Yeah, rip ADA. We'll look at ADA next. What's up, Harsh Chop? How you doing, bro? EDA looks so wrecked. Libren Crypto, you're real? I hope so, man. We're here for you. I'm here for you, Paul. Okay, you're fake. Never mind. I appreciate the honesty, though. Appreciate that. You know, sometimes bots, you know, they'll just try to... It's like when you're sleeping and someone asks you if you're sleeping, but you're like half awake. And you're like, I'm not sleeping. And you get like real defensive about it for some reason. I don't know why we do that. Why do we do that? Do you guys do that? Like when you're like falling asleep and you're like at those early stages and somebody asks you if you're sleeping, I do this. You get like grumpy. You're like, I'm not sleeping. Like you're trying to like convince them you're not sleeping for some reason. That reminds me of bots. Bots are always trying to convince you they're not bots. You're all hallucinations of my mind. That's cool. That way we can be together forever, my bro. Johnny Crypto. I don't know either. ADA does look, you know, it looks awful. Kind of one thing we can look at, a little contrarian. We have a death cross on the week that closed like on Sunday. It closed at a low. Did it hit support? It didn't quite hit 14 cents. But we have the death cross. We dumped on the death cross candle. And you look back and the death cross has been at the low. It was at the low here in 22. Didn't go on to all-time highs instantly or anything. But like, it's at the low. Went a little bit lower, right? A little bit lower. I would say as a contrarian signal, that might be bullish. Yeah, maybe not, but let's not say bullish. Let's say it might be a sign of a local bottom here. At least like a relief bounce for a little. I think that's fair. Also, this will make a great tweet. God, ADA, your charts just look so bad. ADA against Bitcoin. We'll look at that in just a second. I want to, hold up. There we are. I'll take a picture of this. If you're gonna tweet something, you gotta put like a giant arrow on it because just like the average IQ there is like double digit. There we go. There we are. ADA also at the lowest RSI on the week ever. There you go. ADA USD lowest RSI on the week. Maybe that'll be double. Maybe we'll do a double. Let people have some hopium, right? Also, you got a vague post. So don't say if it's good or bad. Let everyone else get like mad about whatever it is you're doing. And then lowest RSI in history. Boom. Boom. At Tom Crown. On the X at Tom Crown. Where is this bad boy? Did not. So a lot of these charts like traded low on Friday and into the weekend. Bitcoin under the 200, Ethereum down to 1500 under its ascending trend, and then closed back up on the weekly close. So by the time the week wrapped up, they regained those levels. ADA did not. ADA did not manage. Or wait, did it? What's happening here? What's happening? Why does this look weird? Okay. It did that thing again where it was like off by a day. It was saying this was Sunday. Weird. It closed the week below its previous all-time low. Its value against Bitcoin. So it did not have that pop that others had. Obviously not a super bullish sign to trade at your lowest valuation ever against Bitcoin. I can't in good conscience be like, oh, well, you know, like look for a long there because of that. But it's not impossible to see a nice relief here. There's likely a solid amount of liquidity just waiting at that number. Market makers, you know, it hasn't traded to that value since 2017, so like 9 years. It's been well, technically October here, didn't it? It's been in the public eye. People have been looking for it, and people looking for discounts likely, I don't know, had orders there. I wouldn't write off a nice little bounce against Bitcoin for ADA, especially combined honestly with the weekly death cross here, and this catastrophic nuke. It doesn't line up with the 4-year cycle in my mind correctly, but a lot of these charts do kind of feel capitulating. Like that candle looks kind of capitulating. You had like Charles kind of step back from the project. You have the death cross on the week. You have the lowest value against Bitcoin all at the same time. And you didn't just continue to nuke, right? It's not like a rug. You're not seeing it just like immediately open down again. It doesn't seem like there's too much panic selling. At least it's not like too much panic selling after last week. I don't know how good that is. But it's rough. It's a rough one. What do you think about render? ADA. ADA. I'm saying ADA. The letters. It's just the letters. I say whatever I want. I've been doing this. I've been doing this for 7 years. I say what I want. I like pronouncing stuff weird. Render. I'm gonna say without even looking at the chart. Probably not into it, but hey, you know what? You hate crypto so much. Oh, I feel you. Oh, never mind. Never mind. There's render against Bitcoin has some interesting moves going on. We've been following this very lightly, but I remember we kind of scoped this out the other day. Render is doing a nice little higher low breakout. I mean, this does look like a reversal to me against Bitcoin. And the Bitcoin pair charts have been the only successful charts that we've had, I don't know, for months now, in trying to guess price action. It gave us hype. We had great gains on hype. It gave us ZEC, but then ZEC like just rugged, you know, I don't know. Sometimes things are a little bit beyond the charts. ZEC though has recovered pretty well. Actually surprisingly well from that. I'm staying away. I'm not touching this. If there's a potential that there was supply minted, like that uncertainty is enough for me to be like, there's just other coins that don't have that threat. That's almost 100% off that low there. I feel like it's a trap. It's a trap. But the USD pair or the Bitcoin pairs have been leading us to some great trades lately. This looks good. If you invert this chart, that looks like the end of a bull run, right? Like huge wick top, and then these like failed highs, like just keep getting sold into earlier and earlier. I can see render reversing for a more than a short term here. I don't know where that gets you. I guess if we look at the retracement from the high to the low, that wick really bonks it up. Maybe like a doubling against Bitcoin. 618 right here. Let me look at the dollar pair though. It's a good sign when the Bitcoin pair looks good though. Not many things look like that. I guess last time we looked at render, we were looking lower. Oh, that short already played out. Didn't fill 128. I like the Bitcoin pair. I like the Bitcoin pair. I think that's all I can say. I like the Bitcoin pair. Out of all the things you could look at, most of them don't have a strong Bitcoin pair. Most of them are just bleeding into oblivion. This looks strong. I'd monitor the Bitcoin pair closely. Monitor that Bitcoin pair closely. It's so hard to say like spot buying on alts is a good idea. It's such a hard thing to say. Like so hard. With Bitcoin looking like likely to hit lower lows, Bitcoin dominance not falling out of the sky. I just pulled that up and then clicked away accidentally. Not falling out of the sky, right? Like bouncing a little bit here. It just isn't a super welcoming environment for spot alt buys. Gotta be careful. There's always a bounce that looks like a bull run. It's true, sure. Which one are you referring to, No? What's up, Tom Kuma guy? Current policy to make the U.S. Bitcoin capital of the world with 𝐂𝐡𝐚𝐫𝐭. Let's get 𝐂𝐡𝐚𝐫𝐭. What's she doing? She's still doing that podcast. You guys who have been following for years, you guys know I met her in 2021. She was really nice. I really liked her. Good vibe, good energy. Harsh asks, brother, I have a question. Why do you compare render with Bitcoin? I want to learn. I like that question. I like that question a lot. So, where to start here? I feel like I could start with like the most basic of concepts, but these probably won't hit home for you. They won't really like land, I have a feeling, but I'll say them anyway. The whole space, the entire space for the entirety of crypto since 2009, right? Or since altcoins, other coins began. The whole space has been pretty tightly correlated in general. Altcoins have acted largely as an oscillator against Bitcoin. When Bitcoin's moving up, they're moving up more, and when Bitcoin's moving down, they're moving down more. That's what we've seen historically. Perhaps maybe I can say for many years, and up until 2018, maybe 2019, crypto was different than it is now. There wasn't really stable coins. There was no USDT. There was no USDC. The only way that you could get into altcoins, for the most part, was to buy Bitcoin and then trade Bitcoin for those alts. That was likely a factor in why they acted the way they did. That's no longer the case with stablecoins. That relationship doesn't exist as tightly as it did in the past, but that's at least the origin of the whole space. Everything was literally tied to Bitcoin. Meaning, like, you know, if you want to get in an alt, you have to like buy Bitcoin regardless of what the market was doing, and then you would sell Bitcoin, and there's just like kind of implications there, like capital rotating back and forth. Now that that's not the case, that isn't as strong. However, the whole space still operates. It still clearly flows that way. If there are any examples of alts truly not moving, ebbing and flowing, being correlated with Bitcoin, they have always been it's always been fleeting. There's no example long term of an altcoin, I'll say outside of stablecoins, that just doesn't correlate with Bitcoin's movement. Doesn't seem to move with in like a predictable manner. I don't know. But to get into the more heart and bones of this is when you compare the values of Bitcoin versus the values of altcoins, you do end up getting charts that are tradable. These pairs do exist on exchanges. This one, I guess, doesn't render versus Bitcoin. They still are indirectly being traded. Still, algorithms are going to be buying in USD pairs and selling in USD pairs based on this, even if it's like not a direct pair. And I guess the value of it is not only is it like an old practice, not only is it the way that most OGs in the space, big players, like view the value of these coins, it gives you like a baseline to view value, especially if let's say the market is really bullish and everything's going up. It can be hard to tell how well you're doing, which sounds weird because you're like, oh, my number's up. Okay. But your dollar number can go up, your value can increase, and you're still technically losing against just holding Bitcoin. Bitcoin, obviously a lower risk play, and if your gains are less than just holding Bitcoin, you've taken on more risk without reward. So it gives you a gauge or like something to measure these movements with. Hopefully I'm not making this confusing. Probably am. To like measure and kind of anchor valuations. You can really just throw away almost everything I said now and just think of it this way. These pairs work. That's really it, is they work. These charts behave much better than the USD charts. When we see Ethereum versus Bitcoin, like we were looking at, let's say in a downtrend, right? We see it trending down from like August 2015. We see this downtrend begin. It tends to continue downtrending, and that can give us actionable moves. Basically, you could look to long Bitcoin, short Ethereum as like a hedge play, and you're basically betting on Ethereum, the loss of Ethereum being greater than Bitcoin's and Bitcoin's gain greater than Ethereum's, and you can profit that way just by basically going long on Bitcoin and short on Ethereum, or vice versa if it's trending up. We commonly see, so like here on Hype, this is a good example. You can go back on our live streams to the middle of May when we're looking at Hype. We were seeing it rally pretty strongly back to its all-time high, which is rare. It's one of the only coins that was doing this. And we said, if this retests its all-time high, and especially if it breaks to a new all-time high valuation against Bitcoin, we can look and have higher confidence that Hype will look to do the same, not only in its dollar value, but likely break to new all-time highs in its dollar pair. And that's exactly what happened. If you look back, you'll see that the Bitcoin pair broke its all-time high before the dollar pair. So that gave you an opportunity to go long on Hype with higher confidence than usual to lock in a profit. So like May 17th, Hype hit a new value, all-time high value against Bitcoin. Its dollar value was right here. It was down here at 45. So just back to the all-time high was 30%. We had already confirmed an all-time high in value against Bitcoin. And it took 1, 2, 3, 4 days to do it against dollars. So basically you could have, and this is what we said, is if it breaks, you can look to open like a long on Hype up to its all-time high. There you go. That was like a great, strong early warning indicator, basically giving us actionable trading information. That's why we look at these pairs. Are they perfect? Do they always work? No, of course not. No, nothing is that way. But they tend to, I don't want to say be less prone to manipulation or something, but they tend to just behave better than the USD pairs. Like when you have like some kind of trading signal that you operate on, whatever that is, like bullish divergence, right? When you see that on the Bitcoin pair, that plays out with a higher probability than when you see it on the USD pair. This is just through my observation of many, many years. They behave better. They don't like fake out as much. Hopefully that makes sense. I rambled it, but it's a great question. I love answering it. Yo, what's up, 𝐕? What's up, brother? No such thing as a good alt. Not long term. I mean, it does not seem to be such thing as a good alt long term. Are alts dead? Well, I think every year more and more alts are like dead, meaning they just like will never. When I say dead, I mean they'll never hit all-time highs again. Probably, right? I think more and more will join that list, but I believe that there likely will always be new alts that jump on the scene that are the shiny new thing that will go on big runs. So are alts dead? I don't know. I think that it's likely we will see alts continue to take up less of the market cap over time. I think Bitcoin dominance will rise in the like mid long term. I don't know, like 5 to 20 years. I think that there will always be random things that pop off. Most of them, unfortunately, are going to be scams and rugs and just traps. But I don't, like a lot of people disagree with this, but I'm not sure. I'm skeptical if there will ever be an altcoin that is a long-term hold. That will be a better long-term hold than Bitcoin. I'm skeptical. We certainly have never seen it. Maybe someday, but we haven't seen it yet. Sailor bought 1,500 Bitcoin today. So Sailor bought they bought like 1,500 Bitcoin at 65,000. So when did they buy it? Wednesday last week? Just like weird. It was weird, first of all. Second of all, they sold 32 Bitcoin. And then they bought, like, it's just like, what is happening? Sailor, like, Bitcoin's a decentralized asset. People do whatever they want. That's the point of it. If Sailor wants to keep buying it all, that's fine. but his actions are just confusing to me. Like, it's confidence building that he just continues to buy anyway. Price is down. People are like, oh, you know, Bitcoin's definitely going to crash to whatever price. And like, they just keep buying. That's good. That's confidence boosting. But their behavior just seems erratic. It's like the buying, when they buy, how much they buy, like randomly selling 32. Like, it's just erratic, and it's like kind of chaotic. Just to break the magic of not selling, I guess. I don't know, I guess. The only meme coin you're on is 𝐂𝐽. I hope that works out for you. Did he, Dark Side, so did he actually sell the 32 and then buy lower? I actually don't know if that was, I don't remember what price he sold at. Lajuda talking about the Bitcoin pair. Well, also, a lot of us, or at least I do, I trade to get more Bitcoin. I don't trade necessarily for more dollars. And there are scenarios where you can end up with more Bitcoin and less dollars. Less dollar value. You know, I say that I've been in the space like 10 years. So that's also people who started trading in crypto when I did also likely see it that way, that are still around. Their goal is to acquire Bitcoin. And so those pairs are meaningful to at least that subset of people. I don't know. It gets harder and harder to explain this because these pairs are just like being phased out across exchanges. They're just like not really. When I started, if you could see how it was when I started, you couldn't buy. On Coinbase, they had 3 coins. On Coinbase, they had Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Ethereum, and that was it. Those are the only ones you could buy with USD, with like dollars from your bank. Everything else, you had to move the Bitcoin off somewhere else, and then you had to trade your Bitcoin for these altcoins. It was a whole thing. A whole thing. Was the space better than some people do it versus gold? Of course, 𝐂𝐿𝐷. So like the reality is, only retail looks at assets only against the dollar. Like only retail only thinks in terms of the dollar. That's it. Like real players, right? Think about the value against other things, like Bitcoin against stocks, Bitcoin against gold, and they're looking to like what is it called? Rebalance as those values shift to profit off of it. Sailor's doing the Rob Peter to PayPal. I mean, ain't that honestly like what all stocks are? We talk about Ponzi's and things. At the end of the day, isn't it all just it all operates off someone else buying it higher? Like, we just tend to like kind of crack down on things like when we don't approve of it or don't like it or something, you know? I'm not gonna comment on, I don't know, the STRC dividends. Like, I just like don't want to speak incorrectly about it, but like everything is some form of like someone else's money getting passed off. Unless they're generating money, like unless they're creating money, like they're the mint. It's all just taking someone's money and giving it to someone else. Like, isn't that what like all trading is too? It's all just different kind of iterations of that. It's interesting. The good old days. That's right, brother. The good old days. Data Damas, you look, I would just be watching Render's value against Bitcoin. It's up to you how you trade that. I would argue if Render doesn't continue putting in higher lows against Bitcoin, if it starts losing lows, that this bullish signal is likely invalid, and that I'm probably not. It probably would want to be out of my long position. Probably wouldn't be looking for a long. If it breaks out, see a move higher against Bitcoin, probably looking to ride that long. Probably going to look for the dollar pair to push to the next resistance. Rate hike this week. Oh, is the FOMC on Wednesday? No. The FOMC is the 17th. Next week. Rate hike next week. Possible. I don't know. The whole 2025 Project 2025 stuff with the Fed now. I don't really. I mean, like, so their goal Project 2025's goal with the Fed is, I think it's to rein in independence, but it is to remove the employment mandate. So it would be like the Fed's only focus is inflation, and then is to protect the value of the dollar, which is like a very weird, like honestly, I feel like it's a weird mandate. The dollar's value doesn't need to be protected. Like, I mean, it needs to be protected against like hyperinflation, but it is the peg of the world, and so its strength is like determined. It just, I'm not sure. None of it though. None of what I've read so far. I'm not going to claim to be an expert, but none of what I've read for Project 25 would allude to cuts or printing. None of it. The opposite, honestly. It's all over? Is it all over, Juan? Damn. Damn, Bubba. Hug everyone. Stay safe. Thank you, Gasper. I got an IRC there. I have an hour. It's been a good stream. Bitcoin's not doing anything. It's a little chilling. We do have the FOMC next week on Wednesday. I think before it gets hot up here, I'm gonna call it. I appreciate you all tuning in. You should join our Discord. It's free. Discord.gg/TomCrown. Kins Daryl over there on TikTok. I'm just signing off, brother. We'll be live again Friday at the latest. We're live all the time. We've been doing this 7 years. Jump in our Discord, discord.gg/TomCrown. Sign up with our exchange partners. Video descriptions links in the video description below. FEMX and BYDFi, great exchanges to be trading. They got all kinds of assets at this point, tokenized stocks. I think you could trade like the SpaceX IPO. We're going to be keeping an eye closely. I expect you all to tune in again. Make sure you've subscribed, liked, followed, turned notifications on. You never know when a very spicy move's going to come. We'll be going live randomly. You don't want to miss it. So have a good day. Happy Monday.